They're coming to get you, Barbara.
We found a lot of suspicious things out in that cemetery.
Malignant demons who issue forth from their graves in the dead of night to attack their victims and drink the blood from their veins.
You're invited to my party if the ghosts are waiting, so won't you join me?
Welcome once again, my cultists, to Vagrant Fear Discussions, our weekly talk about basically anything horror-related, fear-related, movies, trivia, scary things that happen, nightmares that you may have had, all through whatever. If it's scary, we talk about it. This week, I have with me, I think she might be my horror movie buddy, if we're being honest here, Sam Rezz. She and I have seen quite a few movies together, some good, some not so good, kind of runs the gambit, but we just like our horror movies. So first off, welcome to Vagrant Fear Discussion, Sam. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am wonderful. And I think you're right. We are definitely movie buddies. I think the last one we watched was Frankenstein, right?
Yes. Yeah. Guillermo del
great.
Toro's Frankenstein. That was a fun one. I'm glad it got some Oscar nods, to be honest. So it did really well. I enjoyed it. But that's a good movie. I don't know if we're going to talk about good movies, but first off, let's talk about you, Sam. So what is it that you do? Because you're not a regular 9-to-5er.
I am not a regular 9-to-5er. I am actually a circus performer. So I quit my 9-to-5 job, I think it was like 4 years ago now, to focus on circus. And I think it's really funny because a lot of my friends would describe me as an anomaly because I have my circus life, which is very colorful and fun and vibrant and oftentimes panders to like kids and families. And then we have the other side of me, which is very horror focused. I love all things spooky, scary. I have since I was a very small child. I'd say I probably started watching horror movies around the age of 6 or 7. And I've loved it ever since. It was way too young to be watching some of this stuff, but you know what? I loved it.
And if you're watching the video right now, or maybe if you're hearing it right now, you might be saying, wow, she sounds and looks familiar. Well, if you've come to our variety shows in the past, you probably have seen her. She's co-hosted one with me. She's performed in a couple with me. And well, honestly, I think the last time I saw you perform anything with like really, really cool stand out. I mean, even for me to see you just over the top was Halloween-a-Palooza, where you did the stilt walking on that really, I don't even really know what you call it, but you creeped out a lot of people.
We did freak out. Yeah. They're called arm stilts. I actually made that costume. I've been stilt walking for a while, but I had never tried arm stilts, and I wanted to make a creature for Halloween-a-Palooza. And, since the people who are listening are in the area, Halloween-a-Palooza is actually a local horror movie festival. It's horror shorts, and then they have lots of horror vendors from movies to crafts and the like, and I had the honor of performing there last year. So yeah, I made a 4-legged creature costume, and David was there to help make sure that, everybody was not touching me and that they were staying away, kind of like my handler, if you will. And yeah, I freaked out a lot of people. There was one lady who ran out of the building and refused to come back in until they made me walk away from the entryway. Yeah.
I do remember that. Yes. So, and folks, I'm going to post a link to Sam's performing Facebook page and everything. So if you want to, I think I've got a couple of pictures. I know she's got some pictures of this creature that she did, plus other images of her performances over the years. So, or you know what, if you feel like hiring her, she's for hire, and you can probably reach out to her that way. But enough
shameless plug, reach out to me.
yo, I take care of my friends. So, all right, but Sam, horror movies.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. You mentioned that the last one we watched together was brilliant. It was wonderful. I don't think Guillermo can do bad on pretty much anything. But that being said, let's start looking at the other end of the spectrum. Now, you have told me outright that you by your own admission, you like watching bad horror movies. There's like a guilty pleasure to it.
I do. I love to watch bad horror movies. And let me preface with, if it is a movie that had the potential to be good, it had the budget, it had the actors, it had the premise, but is just bad, I don't necessarily love it, right? We're talking like the low budget indie, maybe it had some bad actors, maybe the plot is just absolutely outlandish and laughable. That's what I love. I love some bad horror movies.
Yes, perfect. So that's what makes a bad movie for you. Not that it was, not that it just had a bad story. It was almost like it was cursed from the beginning. It didn't have a budget. It tried its best, but never quite made it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I love also when directors take big swings. If somebody took a big swing, even if it didn't quite land for me, I find it incredibly respectful, and I will always give it a watch, because I think that that is what makes film so great, right? We don't need the same cookie cutter thing that we've seen a million times. Give me something that maybe wasn't quite as good as a Hollywood blockbuster, but that really took some chances. Yeah.
So we're talking like The Stuff, Chopping Mall.
Chopping Mall.
Was it Hotel Hell?
Yeah. Was it Hotel Hell?
I think so. Oh,
Dante's Hotel.
Dante's Hotel. That's
recently.
What it was.
Yep.
And I will say, for throwback to our Halloween-a-Palooza, on Tubi, I did find Robo Vampire. It's on there, which is, I want to say it was an Asian produced film. I could be wrong. But the lead character pretty much was RoboCop, but he was versus the Chinese hopping vampires. And the little clip we saw, and I just randomly found it on Tubi. So folks, all we've seen is the trailer, and I think you and I just laughed at it.
My God, that trailer is so wild. I think it was the fight scene where you turned to me in the middle of the little clip and you said, "I'm watching this."
Yeah. Well, it's on Tubi. I'm going to watch it because, hey, it's Tubi. It's free. It's right there. Why not? So these are the kind of movies that are qualified as bad, but you got to love them because they got heart. And that might be about all they have is heart. So another thing that you mentioned to me, Sam, before we kind of talk about maybe some specific ones that you like, or genre types that you like, but there's kind of a on the fence about this, practical effects versus CGI effects. And nowadays there's a lot of CG flowing in. I mean, it has gotten better over time, obviously, but there still is something about that practical effect art form that gets a lot of people. And I know that you prefer practical effects in films, right?
Oh, I am a sucker for practical effects. And I think that's another reason why I also really enjoy gore films. And I fully understand how people don't necessarily want to watch them, either because they can't handle gore, which is absolutely respectable. Everybody deserves to watch the horror that they enjoy. But also because a lot of times those gore movies don't necessarily have a plot, right? Sometimes it's just to show off those special effects. And I think that is almost like a subgenre for me. And I love it so much in a way of not only thinking about how cool it looked, but also rewinding it to say, how did they do that, right? So not often does it matter to me as much if the film did not have a good plot, even good acting, to be honest. I actually have a few in here that I want to talk about that are just like that. But the practical effects blew me out of the water. And I, as somebody who's dabbled a little bit in trying some special effects makeup, I can appreciate how hard it is. So I love that in my films.
Yeah. And that's true. I mean, I have seen some movies that if you ask me about the story or the acting, I'm like, but this happened. And oh my goodness, when they did this, it was beautiful. I couldn't tell you anything else about the movie, but one particular scene, oh my God. It is an art, and it takes a lot. And some of the movies, that's probably where 90% of their budget goes. But I agree, sometimes it really shows. And maybe you're going to see these directors or filmmakers down the line a bit because they were noticed for stuff like this. And
Oh,
then
and I could only
suddenly,
imagine sometimes what they do with a budget, right? And then you also
right.
take into account there are some special effects artists out there who go on to even produce films, which is another one that I'll talk about a little bit later. So I think that there can be a lot done with really good practical effects.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like I said before, CGI has come a long way. Early CGI, and I know it's not horror, but I recently went and watched an anniversary showing in the theater of The Last Starfighter, a movie I love, but when the CGI came in for the space, I had to cringe. It didn't age well. But, you know, current stuff is great, but it's still, you can tell when they go to practical effects, I think it sucks you in more. It brings you into their world better than I think a CGI could do. So you said you've got several in front of you. I know you're itching to talk about some of these movies.
I do.
So,
God, I love talking about movies.
so what do you got? What are some of your highlights for these bad movies that you enjoy
Yes.
watching, or ones that stick with you?
I would love to first talk about, so I actually watched this one not too long ago, and it was on Tubi, and we've chatted before. I love Tubi, as lots of horror movie lovers do. Free service with just all kinds of stuff on there, and I think it's also a really great place to find independent films, which I will boast about all day long. But I watched this one recently, and it was actually a 2009 film, and it's called Laid to Rest. Have you heard of this one?
I've heard of it. I think I've seen it on Tubi. I have not yet had the pleasure.
Okay. The dialogue, terrible. The acting, terrible. The character motivations, what are they? They're all over the place. Terrible. The practical effects in this movie blew me out of the water. I have never, ever heard anybody talk about this movie in terms of practical effects, but oh my God, it's up in the top for me with some of the classics, some of the greats in terms of practical effects. It's not body horror necessarily or at all, but they focus more on the kills. And I could not understand the way that some of it happened. Absolutely incredible. And the villain, he doesn't talk at all, but his name is Chrome Skull, and he is wild. Oh my gosh, I loved it. And in terms of terrible dialogue, I actually wrote this down because we open with a woman who wakes up in a morgue, and she doesn't know what's going on. Apparently she's hit her head and she has no memory of anything. She finds a phone and she calls 911, and the woman says, on the other end of the line, says, "Where are you?" And her exact words, I wrote this down because it's crazy: "I woke up in a dead box. A man tried to get me dead, but I'm not dead. Am I? What?" And the whole rest of the movie is like that, really crazy. And they cover it up with the fact that she has amnesia, I guess, but she talks like a toddler who doesn't know how to put sentences together talks.
She got hit
and it's
really hard.
Really hard. But I think it's so fun to me because Robert Hall was the director of this film, and I was like, I know I've heard the name, but I couldn't place it, so I looked him up afterwards. And he actually he was the director of this, but he has done countless other films in terms of his practical effects. So some that you might recognize are Body Snatchers, Quarantine, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer series.
Okay. Yeah. They've got some solid stuff in them.
They do. And as far as, Buffy was a product of its time.
Sure.
But in 2009, with what was available, I mean, this, if you are somebody who also likes bad movies and loves practical effects, I can't hype up Laid to Rest enough. 2009 by Robert Hall.
There you go. And Tubi, it's within everyone's price. Tubi is amazing that way.
Love Tubi.
Oh.
Plex is really great too. Have you heard of Plex?
I have heard of Plex.
I use Plex also.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I've checked out Tubi, Plex, Shudder. I've looked into Screenbox. I've looked into there's a lot of these smaller some are free, some are not, like these apps that you can watch horror movies on, and a lot of them do show a lot of the independent stuff, things that you can't normally see otherwise. So I'm really, as far as getting people's visions in their films out there. These little smaller ones are great. I mean, you might not make it to Amazon, or you might not make it to a Paramount or a Max or whatever, but if you can get on these little ones, you may be noticed. You never know. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's great.
Okay, so the next one I want to talk about in terms of practical effects is probably one that's a little more known, and I'm wondering if you've seen it. It's Intruder from 1989.
I think I have, yes.
Yes, I would be surprised if you hadn't, but I had actually, this one slipped completely under my radar until last year. And it's a Scott Spiegel film, and Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi both make appearances, which I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't go wrong with Bruce. You really can't.
You can't. And it's funny because apparently he was marketed as being way more involved in the film than he actually was. He shows up as a cop for maybe like a minute. Yeah. But people were like, Bruce Campbell. So, oh my gosh. But it is so fun. It's set inside of a grocery store. And essentially the whole plot is that the grocery store is going under. So all of the people that were working there that night are working to, close it up, pack everything up, help them out. And then, they're going to lose their jobs and kind of about what they're going to do. But in the meantime, there are a lot of fun who could it be's, because people are dying in the grocery store. But there's also this woman's crazy ex-boyfriend who's been lurking around the place. So could it be him? And, you never really find out who it is until the end, even though you'll probably get it towards the middle of the movie. But the special effects in here were so good, especially for the time. There were a lot of interesting kills. And one of the coolest things that I can say about it was the cinematography. There were so many fun POV shots and camera angles in this. We get one from the inside of a rotary phone, which was really fun. I had never seen before.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's coming back to me now. Yeah, it's been a while. Yes.
And then another from like the inside of a shopping cart as it's turning the aisles. Super, super cool. I really, really enjoyed this one. And I also thought it had that perfect element of humor to it, where I wouldn't call it necessarily a horror comedy, but it had enough of that to not only not take itself too seriously, but offer some, brevity. I really, really loved it.
Oh, yeah. And that's, I applaud directors that like to do weird things like that, like you said, the shot out through the phone or in the shopping cart, things like that. Yeah. And you see that a lot with the independents, because they have that ability to play around, because they don't have a big studio coming in on them and saying don't do that. So you get these fun things. But yeah, no, thank you. It's been a long time since that. Another one from the 80s. I know if you guys listened earlier, we had a discussion that talked about the 80s being like the best decade for horror movies in general speaking. But yeah, towards the end, Intruder. Yes, thank you. I forgot. Seen so many over the years. They blend.
Don't I know it? That's why I love me some Letterboxd, man.
Oh, yeah.
Preaching it till the day I die. Okay. So have you ever seen, this one's also, I feel like, pretty well known if you're somebody who likes practical effects, but have you seen Tokyo Gore Police from 2008?
I have not.
Oh my gosh, you have to watch this movie.
Tokyo Gore
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yes, I think you would love it, but it's also asinine. I can't I can't say anything else about that, but it's a 2008 film, and it is so wild. Essentially, how do I explain it without getting you like flagged? I won't go too far into it. You should look into it, but without giving too much, it's essentially body modifications in a world where self-harm is kind of a little bit more accepted, and the modifications that happen are also sometimes monstrous, like creature type, and then other times it's just like body parts where they shouldn't be, and other times it's hardware, and just a wild ride. It's absolutely insane.
Sounds like
and
it.
Yes, I can't say too much more, but you should absolutely watch that.
Okay, Tokyo Gore Police.
Tokyo Gore Police.
Okay,
yep. Mm-hmm.
that is going on the list. So yes, or you may just show up one time and going, "We're watching this."
I could do that.
Which you've done.
It is my
of
turn
times.
for a movie pick. Yeah.
That is true. Yep, you've done that to me a couple of times, or you've left Molly wasn't it, Molly, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I really did enjoy that one too. That was sort of a surreal kind of, still by the end of it, I still wasn't 100% sure, but I loved the ride that I was on throughout the show. So yeah, I like that. That's another thing that you kind of like, isn't it? That that more surreal kind of feel in horror movies, the existential kind of, that, you know, that sort of feeling like you're not really sure what you're watching kind of feel. Am I right?
I do. I love surreal horror, and I love it in a way of maybe in the same way that I love practical effects, where you can take a big swing in creating this other world, this other imagery that fits but doesn't fit. And even if it's a little off or doesn't quite, mesh with the storyline, I think those big swings are, again, something to be appreciated. So I love surreal horror, and especially when it's mixed with that psychological horror of, like you said, you don't quite know what's happening, but you are loving the ride.
Right. No, I know. I'm going to throw this one out. It's newer. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I know you don't, you might, it'll be a lot of work for me to get you to watch it, because one of the main actors is Nicolas Cage, and you hate him with a passion. But it is an adaptation of Lovecraft's Color Out of Space. And for surrealism, with the coloring and the feeling of it all, it is really out there. And just from the first moment, it grabbed me in, and it's just a crazy, crazy ride. Part of that is probably because of Nick Cage and his acting styles, but you and I may differ a little. I can take him in doses. I think you avoid him like the plague. So
I do. I can't stand him. Get him out of Hollywood, man. But hot take, I guess.
Yeah.
I've heard that from other people, though. I feel like Color Out of Space is pretty well regarded. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm looking for. But I've heard that from quite a few people, that it was pretty good. So maybe I'll give it a go. But the last person who told me to give Nick Cage a go recommended Moonstruck, and terrible. So
that doesn't even sound like a movie you would enjoy, Nick Cage or not. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched Moonstruck. It's good, but I don't think that's a Sam movie.
It's not.
But yeah, Color Out of Space, I will say, I was drawn to it because it is very hard to pull Lovecraft off in a film and have it work, because his writings are so out there and surreal, probably the biggest of the surreal. But what are some good surreal ones that you have catered to, that you've gone to? Anything pop out?
Yeah, I would love to recommend a few. And before I do that, you saying that it's kind of hard to pull Lovecraft off. You introduced me to a film on one of our movie nights, Dagon.
Oh, Dagon. Yes,
Dagon. And I loved it. That was never on my radar either, but that was a Lovecraft adaptation that I thought was phenomenal. Very well done.
Got a lot of good practical effects in there too.
It does, yeah. And just weird. I love weird.
Yep. It qualifies.
Okay. This next one is weird, and it is also a Dutch film. So if you're somebody who, can't watch a film with subtitles, this one might not be for you. But I absolutely fell in love with it. It is Borgman from 2013, directed by Alex van Warmerdam. Sorry, I'm not Dutch. And the tagline on IMDb says that it's a perfect cross between Dogtooth and a Michael Haneke film. And that immediately set off alarm bells for me, because Michael Haneke is the director of Funny Games. And I feel like, that's a very certain style of film. And then Dogtooth, if you haven't seen it, for the listeners out there, that is a Yorgos Lanthimos film, and he's also just weird in a way that makes you uncomfortable. And I also like I like to feel uncomfortable. So Borgman is definitely a movie that's like a cross between that. But oh my goodness, I have watched it 3 times since the first time I watched it, and I still feel like I can continue to watch it and glean more from it. It is a phenomenal film that does not answer too much. It leaves a lot up for interpretation, which I think is very important when you're covering a film that has a lot of fantastical ideas that maybe would not hit the same if it was fully explained, right?
Oh, yeah.
But Yeah, I think that I wrote down a few of the themes that I've gleaned from it, but again, I feel like there's so many other takes, but it has to deal. I think that they're making a statement about immigration and indoctrination, but in a way that is not dealing with immigrants, but it is dealing with the mindset of somebody who was uprooted and forced to go somewhere else, and then those people's feelings on that person being there. It has to do a lot with mysticism, folklore, and religion. And then also it kind of tackles wealth disparity and like class dynamics, but all in very, it's not pointed, all in very delicate and off kilter ways. It's incredibly uncomfortable, very surreal, and I think something that will really stay with people for long after. So I highly recommend that one, Borgman from 2013.
Borgman. Now, it's Dutch, so you have to read the movie.
Yeah, you have to read the movie,
which,
unless you speak Dutch.
Well, okay, so you have to read the movie, so, which honestly can be a no sell for some people. And but when it comes down to it, and I don't care what movie it is, I prefer to read the movie over dubs. I mean, it doesn't matter what genre it is. If I'm hearing English come out of a mouth that's not forming English words, it pulls me right out. And I have to watch a subtitled movie, subtitled, so to read it, which I know, like with Borgman, I know you kind of have to, be in that mood. So
yeah, I'm very much the same way. Dubbed, I can't do it. But I do love foreign horror. So I do watch a lot of movies that I have to read, but I also have to be in the mindset for it, So if I'm not feeling like I want to read it and I want something in the background, that's just not that night's movie. But foreign horror. I could do a whole half hour just talking about the Italian horror films. They're almost like their own. Do you have a few favorites? Well, the one that really pops in was Suspiria, but there's a few others. But it almost is a genre unto itself in a weird way. So yeah, there's a lot of really fun stuff, and a lot of it came from the 60s and 70s. I think is where it really hit its stride. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of good stuff. But again, reading horror, but still, yeah. Have you seen Climax within the French horror world?
I have not. I have not delved into French horror. I will be honest, I've not delved into a lot of French films outside of a couple of Luc Besson earlier stuff. French Impressionist, I got a little bit jaded when I was at college because I got forced to watch it and I didn't understand what the heck was going on. But that was years ago. I probably am older that I can give it another go. But
I was just thinking, if you liked Suspiria, I think Climax would be one that you'd also enjoy. It's tense and atmospheric and has some really cool dance scenes because it's actually about like a dance company. But it is within the same realm of vibrant colors and images and so much moving around that you're having a hard time distinguishing things, in that same vein of Suspiria.
Yeah, I like that. Sometimes with the surreal, and I'm not condoning any actions, kids, but sometimes I like to watch a horror movie, sci-fi movie that makes me feel, even though I'm stone cold sober, makes me feel high as a kite watching it.
And, yeah, I like movies like that.
When I end and you sit there and you go, I don't know what I just watched, but man, was I having fun. So that's so Climax. I'll probably check that out because the premise of that, the colors and the dance and everything, it does sound fun, and it's French. They can get very artistic. So, but yeah, all right. So as we're getting closer to our half hour here, Sam, do you have one that sticks in your head as, if I say, hey, Sam, what is maybe one of your top bad horror movies? Is there one that kind of jumps out that you say, oh, I really love this?
Yes, there are two, and they are ones that I recommend to everybody that says that they like bad horror, and they also just happen to both be shark movies.
Oh no.
Yes, I went on a huge kick of bad shark horror. I made a huge list on Tubi, and anyways. But yes, there are two. If I could talk about both.
By all means.
Okay, the first is called Ouija Shark, and I know that I've talked to you about this
Yep.
one. It's so crazy. It's a woman goes to the beach, and a Ouija board washes up in the ocean, and she goes, "Oh, I should take this to my party tonight." So they all play the Ouija board, and then they feel this presence, but they don't see it, but we do. It's like an apparition of a shark come out of the Ouija board, but it's like an overlay. So he think like a spectral spirit, but a shark. And the thing is that this shark does not need water in order to materialize. He's just kind of like free swimming through the trees and showing
Tonight's
up over a
episode
swimming
of
pool.
Vagrant Fear
And
Discussions is brought
so
to you by
crazy.
Vagrant
I
Fear
mean, there's no rhyme or
and
reason because the acting is bad, the CGI shark
Your
is bad.
host was
But
David
when you
Detlefs.
find out
Music included
who
Day of
released
Chaos
this
and
shark
Dr. Red
upon
by
the
Kevin
world and
MacLeod
for what
from
reason,
Compotech.com.
and then you look
Licensed
up
under
what
Creative
year it was
Commons
made
by Attribution
and
4.0
compare it to what's happening
license.
right now, your mind will be blown. And I cannot say anything else. But if
Perfect.
you love terrible movies, you should check that one out. Ouija Shark, it's on
Ouija
TV.
Shark.
And they made a second one. Yeah.
Oh God, it had a sequel.
I
Okay.
haven't seen it. Okay, the other one that's actually slightly better, but it's still terrible. It is called Nightmare Shark. And this is if Freddy Krueger was a shark. Nightmare Shark. It's so wild. And what's really funny is they flat out stole certain scenes and dialogue from Nightmare on Elm Street and just said, but what if a shark?
Oh wow.
It's so wild. And it was very, very fun to watch. I really, really loved it. He only comes in nightmares, and so he gathers all these people around for a sleep study that have been seeing the shark, and then they find out why they're all connected and why they all dream the shark.
Lord.
Yeah, really wild. That one's also on Tubi, Nightmare Shark.
I think the moral for today is if you like horror, go to Tubi. It's
Go
a
to
it's a
Tubi.
buffet.
It really is, especially
Oh,
for bad
amazing.
horror.
Oh yeah, that's
Mm.
amazing. Well, Sam Retzloff, thank you. Obviously, it's always a pleasure to talk horror with you. I mean, I do it, and when I'm not interviewing you for a show, but yeah, your tastes in movies, you've actually kind of opened my eyes to some of the more weird things that I would maybe pass over, going, God, that
Ooh.
sounds stupid. But hearing you like, yeah, it is stupid, but and I'm like, okay, we'll try it. So
Stupid, but I love that I've opened your eyes in that way
Stupid
because
but, yep.
there is so much out there if you're willing to not only look for it, but also, give it a chance, because not everything's going to be a 10 out of 10, but you can still have a good time.
oh yeah.
I really love talking movies with you. And if anybody's interested and wants to see more of the movies that I'm watching, please follow me on Letterboxd. It's Sam Rezz, SAMREZZ. I love to post on Letterboxd, make lists, and you can see what I'm watching. And I'd love to maybe see what you're watching.
Perfect. So find her on Letterboxd. Like I said at the top, we're going to link your Facebook in as well, so people can see what you do for work, which I don't want to really call it a job, because that would denote
is.
that maybe you're not having fun at it. But yeah, no, check it out. We'll post that there. Sam, once again, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Always fun to see you, and we will have a movie night coming soon. We still haven't gone to see Dracula. If it's still even out, I don't know. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, cultists alike, thank you once again for joining me this week in Vagrant Fear Discussions. I'd like to again thank KHOI-FM for hosting us every Sunday night at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. we got the radio drama followed by Vagrant Fear Discussions. So an hour block of twisty, turny, creepy, gnarly stuff. So yes, until then, have pleasant dreams, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Tonight's episode of Vagrant Fear Discussions is brought to you by Vagrant Fear Productions and KHOI 89.1. Your host was David Detlefs. Music included Day of Chaos and Dopplerette by Kevin MacLeod, Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license.